Good morning, Karen.
Good morning, Paul.
This just in from the National Science Foundation. Science. A new climate model predicts we are not all doomed to a fiery, agonizing death next week.
That's right, Paul. It seems we have another month to live.
That is good news since Roger can't make it for 2 weeks.
Good news for both of us. In the meantime, Phil, our intrepid field interview reporter, is at the NSF to get the inside scoop.
Karen, today we are interviewing Dr. Ian Malcolm, Chief Scientist for Global Climate Studies at the NSF.
I am Ian. The great and powerful.
Hey, ain't you the dinosaur guy?
Yeah, I got laid off so now I'm a climate guru.
We have had 12 days in a row of 100-degree weather. Is this the end for our species?
Good question. We are doing extensive research and should have preliminary results by 2087.
So can you explain the apparent flip-flops of terminology from global cooling to warming to change to catastrophe?
Yes, when it's hot the public is told global warming is the cause. When it's cold the public is told climate change is the cause. When we want more money we declare weather a climate catastrophe for dramatic effect. Heads we win. Tails you lose.
Sounds like a flim-flam to me.
I can get you a gig at the NSF.
Oh, it's raining.
We need more money to combat sea level rising.
If sea levels rise, where does the water come from?
Only one possibility, melting polar ice.
Isn't that what happens at the end of every ice age?
Yes, we are in a warm period of the current last ice age that started 11,000 years ago.
So Arctic ice has been melting, raising sea levels for 11,000 years, and man has been industrialized for 100 years.
You really should work at the NSF.
No way.
So what do the people think, Phil?
We are doing interviews to find out. Hi, would you like to tell us about the climate?
It's hot today and the news says it's global warming.
What's the difference between weather and climate?
They are the same thing.
Hi, would you like to tell us about the climate?
It will be cold tomorrow and the news says it's climate change.
What's the difference between weather and climate?
They are the same thing.
Karen, I have discovered that the public believes whatever we tell them is real, regardless of how idiotic. Most are clueless about science and those that are not follow the consensus like cows to the slaughter. They just can't get past grade school where they desperately wanted to fit in and be liked. We will now talk to Dr. Holmes, who says he is not part of the so-called 97% consensus. Dr. Holmes, what are your views on the issue of global warming or change?
I have no opinions. How could I? That leads to mere belief, which leads to a religious cult-like fanaticism. Instead I offer temperature and CO2 data for the past 800,000 years from authoritative sources. We can deduce 3 things. 1. Both temp and CO2 have been fluctuating widely for 800,000 years and likely for many millions of years. Homo sapiens have existed for only 200,000 years. Industrialization started 250 years ago and became widespread only 100 years ago. Since plants emit CO2 and increasing temperature means more plant growth, it is logical to interpret the graph as CO2 not causing global warming, but resulting from global warming, since higher temperatures mean more plants so more CO2.
What causes the temperature to fluctuate?
Let's say your table breaks. Should we obsess about wood screws or suspect the elephant on top? The sun is spectacularly huge. 864,938 miles across. 1.3 million Earths can fit in the sun. Energy results from nuclear fusion of 2 hydrogen nuclei to form a helium atom. The sun is not a big fire in the sky. It's a nuclear fusion reaction. The sun produces more energy in 1 hour than Earth uses in a year. Virtually all energy on Earth comes from the sun and it fluctuates in cycles.
Why all the talk about CO2 then?
People can be guilt-tripped into believing that they are killing the planet with CO2 from cars and so on. Then politicians and scientists can extort money to fix a problem that doesn't exist. We declare it a moral issue and invoke the original sin theory of Adam and Eve to browbeat them into submission. If it's the sun, we are not at fault. No money, no control. It's the biggest scam in history.
So is CO2 good or bad?
CO2 has been purposely labeled a pollutant or poison. It is the opposite. It is life. CO2 is plant food. If you like plants, then we should all celebrate. People who want simple answers to complex questions are going to get screwed. If you want something to worry about, then it's global cooling or another ice age.